Delivering 4-season warmth and comfort, the Exped DownMat 7 is perfect for your next backpacking adventure when you're looking for a warm sleeping pad that's going to pack down to be really small and is extremely lightweight but has a really high R value. There's a lot of features here going on that are going to keep you comfortable and safe in the backcountry. First thing I want to talk about is the insulation and how this keeps you warm from cold ground. This is filled with 750 plus premium goose down. So this packs down to be really small. With that goose down, it's very lightweight, so that is going to give you a lot of thermal efficiency from the cold ground. It has an R value of 5.9, and that's a really high R value for the weight of this sleeping pad. And the down on the inside of this pad is applied to the sleeping pad in a way that when you inflate the pad, the down also gets lofty and also kind of inflates with the sleeping pad. You don't have unwanted shifting of down here, so you don't have down that's going to shift up and down the chambers. In fact, at the end of each chamber, there are little foam pads that don't allow the down to move into other parts of the pad. So you have really great even distribution of heat here. You don't have to worry about that down breaking down. And because you have an integrated pump, you're not introducing that moisture from your breath into the pad. So you don't have to worry about that breaking down the pad at all. And in fact, the glues that are used to seal the pad and with the baffles here are designed in such a way that any moisture that would make its way into the pad isn't going to break down those glues, and also isn't going to break down the loft of that down. So there's a lot of technologies in there that are going to keep you warm and that are going to last a long time. I mentioned the pump here, and it does have an included pump. It is basically a piece of foam. It's very flexible foam, and there are two valves here. If I turn the pad around, you can see there's two hand marks here. So this is where that foam is in the pad. It doesn't weigh a lot, and like I said, it breaks down really easily. But you've got your inflation valve here, and as soon as you push down on the foam, it's going to push the air from the foam into the pad. Like I said, there is another valve, so you've got a purge valve here. When you need to deflate the pad in the morning, you just pull that and the air just escapes really easily. So you want to make sure that's closed when you're inflating the pad. But again, this allows you to inflate your entire sleeping pad without having to use your breath. If you're on a long day of backpacking, the last thing you want to do is sit there and inflate the pad by mouth and get lightheaded, especially if you're at higher elevations and especially if it's really cold. So this is just a really great innovation. One thing I will mention, when you do inflate the pad, the last inflation there, when the rest of the pad is blown up, it's going to leave the foam in this chamber a little bit deflated, and there's a little valve behind the scenes here. You can't see it, but you can feel it. It's right on the bottom of this pad, and once you have your entire pad inflated, you just simply push on that, and it's going to allow a little bit of air to come back into this chamber so that this can be fully inflated. So that's one little helpful tip that I've found. But overall, it's a really comfortable mat. Again, really lightweight. The material on the top here isn't noisy. It's a pretty silent material, and there's even a little bit of texture on there so that when you put your sleeping bag down onto it, it's not going to slide around. And the material is very durable but also very lightweight. Overall, it's a completely airtight, long-lasting pad that is going to just deliver 4-season warmth with that high R value. It is the Exped DownMat 7.